All right, I thought I'd quickly show you what I put on the tree this year. Let's see, I went out in the yard, and each year, every home I've had, there's sedum. And this particular year, it just didn't seem to pop and be as bright and vibrant, but I did get to grab some from the yard, and I was glad to see this new house had some. Let's see here. Also, there were some hydrangeas in a bush that we have here. I dried some already pre-browning like this. It's beautiful pink and ivory, but this one I liked. It's going to work well with my color scheme of using all these bronze, browns, and ambers. And then I add a little touch of bling. I have to have my bling. I have some floral picks here of gold. Another thing I add every year is some dried fruits, and these last forever. I say I've had these about 4 years, 3 years, and then I just made these yesterday, and I'll show you how I did that. You can see a little bit difference in vibrancy. This will probably deepen a little bit more over time. I also dry out some apples, and I add some cinnamon sticks within the tree. I also have things like faux pheasant feathers and some curly willow. You really can get creative with the tree. And then once Christmas comes along, I take out a few items and I pop in a few more beads and baubles, maybe with crimson red or a few more golds. But it's a perfect transition from Thanksgiving to Christmas, and I really enjoy being able to have some sparkle in the house while I'm baking and cooking. And one thing, if you do these oranges, make sure that you tell your loved ones that it's not cookies or cake in the oven, because my poor husband was salivating thinking I was making a sweet, and it wasn't. It was just oranges. Now I'm cutting these by hand right now with a nice sharp knife, nice and thin. In the past I've used a mandolin, but my daughter, when she got her own house, she took her mandolin with her, so I am doing this old school. So you want them nice and thin, and I turn the orange sometimes because one side will usually get thicker than the other if I don't do that. And you just take your time and try to make it as thin as possible, because once these dry, you'll see the light of some of your tree lights come right through, and it's really pretty. And I'm going to set my oven at the lowest temperature. I believe mine here is 250. Some might go to 2. And these are going to go in the oven for about 2.5 hours, depending on the thickness of the orange. Large pieces that are awkward, I'm going to put them still on my tray, because I will use those again in a potpourri or mulling spice. And I'm going to keep turning my orange, or else I'll have a thicker side on one side. It just always happens. Nice and thin. I can already tell it's getting a little wonky, and that's a technical term. So now this one's too thin, but I'm still going to use it for my potpourri. I just found out my oven does go as low as 200. Since it's a new oven, I'm still learning this one. But I'm now going to lay out the oranges. I've done this on aluminum foil and parchment paper. I've also done them in a dehydrator, which once again was my daughter's, and she took with her to her home. I'm even going to use some of the end pieces, because these will be used in the potpourris that I make, and also some of the mulling spices, so use every bit of the orange. Okay, so one thing I'm going to mention is I like to put the lights on my tree loose, and then that way I can tuck them in and put some lights on the outside, tuck some inside. You want to have some depth and dimension when you're doing your tree. Tuck them in, hide the wires as much as possible. and then I stand back and see if there's any pockets of light that I'm missing. I hate to tell you how many trees I've decorated over my life, both personally and professionally. A lot. And there's so many different ways that you can tuck lights in, wrapping branches individually. But this way is so fast, and I like to do it here at my home. I hope you liked our little tutorial on creating a Thanksgiving tree, which is another reason for me to have a Christmas tree in my house early.